Hi, hello everyone, and uh, welcome to Nerissa Bauer show. So I am your guest host. I'm Dr. Amy Shriver. I'm a pediatrician working in Iowa, and I happen to be a friend and colleague of the traditional host, Dr. Nerissa Bauer. And today we're flipping the script because I'm very interested in interviewing her. Dr. Bauer is one of the most creative doctors I've ever met, and I very much admire the way that she can use her knowledge to really reach her audience in a way that many of us can't. And so I'm very interested in hearing about her class, Teach Me ADHD, for personal and professional reasons. So thank you for having me on your show, Dr. Bauer.
Oh, thank you for filling in. And this is going to be a lot of fun. I loved having you on the show. And, I'm always looking for a way to get to talk to you. So thank you so much for doing this.
Likewise, I'm always looking for excuses to, spend time with you or support you in all of your amazing endeavors.
Thank you. You're so kind.
So I remember, I follow you, of course, on your social media, and I remember seeing the Teach Me ADHD course, and I'd watch you as you prepped your materials and you were getting ready to meet the people in your group, and I just was so curious. And so, can you tell me a little bit about how you even got this idea and why are you doing this class?
Oh, that's such a great question. So first of all, I absolutely love the group model. I fell in love with this when I was first introduced, when I was first learning parenting skills. And that was way back in my days in Seattle, when I had started a foster care clinic and I had no idea how to best support these families. As physicians, we are very privileged to be hearing every story that families have, their deepest concerns, their worries, and their fears. And we have the honor to walk aside them, and help them out. But there's only so much you can do in, a certain amount of time, and certainly one-on-one. Obviously, we can make some really great change, and we can make those relationships, which I love, and that's why I'm doing pediatrics, and I think you are too. However, the group model is so amazing. And after I was introduced to the group model, where we would have a small group of families in a room, and just to watch over the weeks that support, that friendship, the camaraderie, the education that we learn, and then the person facilitating the group doesn't just become, the educator. We actually learn alongside the families there. And every group feels very different depending on the makeup of the people. So I really wanted to bring the group process to what we do with ADHD, just because it's one of the more common things that, as you know, we see in pediatrics. And so many families, after either the diagnosis or even before, and they're not sure what's going on, they feel so isolated. They have a lot of stress. They're not quite sure what the next move should be, and they worry about it. And I thought, this is a great way to bring that group experience to something that pediatricians do. And so I've been looking a lot for an opportunity to do this. But I turned it on its head, Amy, because during COVID, and I think this is where this came from, was this idea to merge together the parent experience and the child experience. Because, first of all, we've been isolated and getting places to do what we need to do, getting behavioral therapy, parenting support, and all the other stuff that goes along with the chronic care treatment of ADHD. It's really hard to do when you're supposed to be staying socially distanced. And now that we were stuck in our homes, I was like, what better way to sort of explore this model by developing something that kids and parents can take together? Because we need to bring the fun back and take the overwhelm out. So that's kind of how it happened. And then one day I just put out there on social media, I said, I have this idea. I need 3 or 4 family volunteers. And I'm not kidding you, I had 7. So I thought, okay, I'm going to do this.
Well, that doesn't surprise me at all. I definitely think more people should spend time with you if they can, for sure. But I also love how you've really had the insight in knowing how people feel hard sometimes. They feel confused, they feel worried, they feel scared, and then to have that group model where they can feel safe and they can relate to each other and have that group support, it's genius. It's genius that you're doing this in a group way, and I wish that this model were where I live in Iowa so that my patients could benefit too. So this is such a great idea. Can you explain a little bit more about the model itself and how long does it go, and what kinds of topics are covered during the sessions?
Yeah, so it's 8 weeks long. And obviously, when I first started this, I had in my mind 6 to 8 weeks, and it kind of just depends on all the different topics that I knew we had to cover and how quickly we can get through it and give each topic enough time. And so, in the end, it's an 8 week course and it is on Zoom. People ask me all the time, now with if we get out of COVID, or when we get out of this, are you ever going to offer this in person? And I'm not quite sure yet. So I'm not sure. However, because I love the Zoom format, and I know everybody's going to like say, oh, no, no more Zoom. But it makes it so easy and accessible. Like you can just be in your pajamas if you want, nobody's going to know. And you can just, pop up on your computer and, log on. So I like the convenience factor of it. Plus, the kids really love just sort of being in their house and showing and bringing their favorite things to the camera when we have that opportunity. And then for brain breaks, obviously, kids can get up, stretch, and access whatever they need easily. But the course is 8 weeks, and everybody gets this mission map. I'm going to hold it very close. You probably can't see everything here, but you get a supply box, and this mission map shows you each mission, different things that we're going to be doing. The cornerstone of every meeting is what I call a deed. And in our first session, I have the junior detectives talk to me about what they think a deed means because it is the All Deeds Help Detective Agency that they are going to. And we find out what a deed means. And I'm going to probably give you a little spoiler, but a deed is something that's done with intention. And
Oh,
yeah, yeah, I mean there's lots of different definitions, but the one that I'm honing in on is that. And so we talk a lot about the deed for the week. And so families come in to this detective agency. They come up with junior and senior detective names, and then I have to learn them all. My memory sometimes is not that great, but I try. And then we go on this mission every week, training mission. We cover what the deed is, and then families get their family mission. And usually that's around the topic. And then they have to practice this through the week. And then they have to take pictures of evidence and send it to headquarters so that I can give feedback on how well they're doing. So,
oh my gosh. I just have to say, so the mission map and the little box that comes with it, that is all created by you, right? You've kind of
yes,
created it all,
handpacked
you've
by me
designed it all.
personally.
And packed it all and sent it all. I mean, this is creativity beyond what most pediatricians are capable. And the idea of it being a detective agency and solving mysteries, I'm going to tell you a secret that when I was that age, when I was in elementary school, I had a huge crush on Encyclopedia Brown.
Oh, yeah.
And I really love solving mysteries. And then, so I think that as a kid, this is just such a great way of making the discussion less scary and so engaging. And I completely agree that I think kids, if they had a vote, do you want to go to the doctor or do you want to stay at home? I think most kids would probably want to stay at home. So you're really understanding what kids need and you're understanding how to make them feel not only comfortable during the conversation, but excited and engaged and make it fun so that kids actually know what you're talking about, but they also enjoy their time. So that is a remarkable accomplishment. I
Thank
think
you.
I wish that, every child that walked out of my pediatric office said, wow, I really enjoyed this visit. Doesn't always happen, but that would be so great. So I'm just so impressed with the model and the way that you make kids engaged. But so tell me a little bit about how kids respond when you start with the detective theme and teach them about deeds. What are some reactions that you've had from your kids?
Yeah, I start off the first training mission meeting introducing myself. I say I'm Dr. Nerissa Bauer by day. But really, I'm a detective. And the reason is because when I meet families just like yours, the first thing that I need to do is be really careful and listen to everything that they're telling me. And what I'm looking for are the clues of what's been happening. And I never want to jump to conclusions. I want to look for evidence and make sure I get all the facts. And I tell them that I am inviting them into the agency to be fellow detectives because the whole purpose and the journey of this class is to really learn all about their brain and how to work together with their team. And then we talk about who's on your team, and we talk about different aspects of ADHD throughout the 8 weeks. But typically, I always start with an icebreaker because, in parenting groups, that's what we do. We also talk about group rules first, and we always establish those as well. And we set that tone of this is a safe place, this is a fun place. So I never, I have to bring it, when I'm there and that energy. And kids love that. They respond to that. And so we open up with a little game of would you rather. And they have pre-detective work that they do when they open up their supply boxes just to get them excited. And then the 8 other bags in that box, they can't see through. So there's specific instructions from headquarters. The first one is clear, and that's it has this map and it has this and a couple other things, and then the others are purposefully sealed and they cannot see it, and they are told not to open it until the day of and the hour before we meet so that we don't lose anything, but then we also have everything we need to do our family missions. So I
Well, and
think
it
you
creates that mystery, right?
yeah,
The kids are dying to know what's inside, and so
yeah,
they're ready to go with, open their next, package and dig in. It
yep.
reminds me of I'm also a huge fan of those, like, murder mystery packets that you can do at your house, and it sounds like
Yes.
I would really like that too, because I would wanna know what was next and what was coming. One thing I noticed about the way you open things and the way that you mention how important active listening is,
Hmm.
I think, that makes me feel like you're using a particular device that is called the platinum rule. The golden rule, how we say, "Hey, do unto others as you would have them do unto you." And the platinum rule is do unto others as you would have others do unto others. So you're modeling the way that parents can really listen to their kids and to be really responsive parents and receptive parents and good listeners to their kids so that they can really just stop and take a moment and just give their kids a chance to talk and explain and feel and share. So I love that that's the first thing you do because it really does set the stage for how parents can be better listeners for their kids.
Yeah. And I love that you bring that up in terms of you know, modeling, because that is a huge component with any parenting program that we do. Whenever we teach parents or coach parents these principles, I always try to model that in front of them for their children and then invite them to try that out as well, that skill. And so, I mean, I think just remembering to stay playful throughout the whole 8 weeks and always giving kids the opportunity to voice their concerns, their thoughts and feelings, because this is all about them, and we need them to feel empowered and for them to know that we are interested. We want to know how they're thinking. We want to know what they're feeling. And through the course, that's what we do.
Well, speaking of feeling empowered,
Hmm.
that's one thing that I really loved and was so excited about when I saw on social media was that you teach kids how to use their ADHD superpowers. And that sounds like a very strengths-based way to approach this kind of information and help kids build up their self-esteem. Can you tell me a little bit more about how they use their superpowers?
Yeah, so right from the get-go, again, session one, without giving away too much, we talk a lot about what they love about having ADHD and what were some of the other challenges that they've had. But then through the course of my listening and drawing it out across everybody, we talk about what's similar and what's unique about everybody. And we also talk about what they've heard about ADHD from other people, maybe from what they've heard, like people tell them about it. And then I have them also reflect on how it affects them at home and school. And again, I always tell them this is without judgment, this is without shame. We are just getting facts here, you know? So I just want you to remember to have your detective hat on, and we're just going to talk about it, right? And if you don't feel like talking about it, that's okay. But the beauty of the group is that these kids prior to this, through nobody's fault, right? I mean, these kids have executive functioning challenges. So oftentimes these kids will hear things like, stop doing that. Why can't you remember your homework? I told you this, a million times. You forgot this again. They're hearing these messages from the environment, and a lot of it has become internalized. And yet, I help them through the course of just talking about it with no expectation other than let's just see what else is happening. And then they begin to hear other kids have those same experiences. They realize, oh my gosh, like I'm actually not the only person that feels this way. Because I always tell parents in my clinic, like kids don't ever go up to other people and say, I have ADHD. What about you? Like, there's
Right.
no easy way to bring this up. But
Mm-mm.
kids also want to know and feel like they're not alone. And this gives them that safe space to be able to slowly hear other kids as they become brave enough to give voice to that. And I think together, it's so awesome I mean, I wish you could be in the room when
Oh,
this
so do
happens.
I, girl. So do I.
To just see their
Yeah.
confidence grows. I just
I
love
mean,
it.
I feel like you have so many hats. You're, a doctor as well as a teacher, and I feel like you have such great teaching skills for these kids. I myself love to be in a room with a group of kids who are sharing ideas with each other. I
Yes.
would love to be a fly on that wall to see how the kids respond to each other and feel like um, they gain more insight into themselves by
Mhm.
hearing what other people are sharing. And
Mhm.
they might not know at first all of the challenges that they have, but when they listen to the other kids, they're like, yeah, that's a challenge for me too. And I'm really glad you said that. And that helps me feel a little better about myself that, other people find that difficult. I didn't know. I thought I was the only one. So I just can't, I would love to see kids just being there to support each other and help them, get ideas from one another. And I'm sure it's a really great feeling to watch kids grow and build their confidence and build their superpowers. So
Yeah.
I think that's such a great idea.
And we talk about that too. I mean, a lot of kids, we talk about hyper focus, and sometimes that can get kids into trouble because, they will hyper focus on things they absolutely love at the detriment of other things, and we learn how to harness that hyper focus. We talk about it as a superpower, and, your brain is really engaged and you really are you're getting it, you're in the zone. And how do you think we can transfer some of that and begin to shift a little bit more focus into the hard things? But we need to sometimes ask for help. How can we make it more fun? How can we, do we need to take a break? We explore all of those things, and together with their parent, that's part of some of the family missions, is to really go back and spend some time thinking about that with their senior detective.
That is
So,
incredible. I just think I've had a lot of kids and even some of my own kids and friends say, "Is there something wrong with me? Do I have a disorder?" There's a
mhm.
lot of stigma attached to ADHD, whereas, as you said, it's very common and really very treatable, and there's a lot of ways that we can support kids who are ready to be supported. So I think that this working in the group really helps them feel like, oh, this is just like it's a class, but it's like a game, and it's a hangout with my friends, but it's actually learning. And it can really hopefully open their eyes to the fact that they are good learners and that maybe learning isn't such a scary thing. And then maybe that even changes their mind about going to school the next day and how they feel about their other teachers. So I think that's so exciting. Have you gotten any feedback from parents that are a part of your group? What do they say?
Yeah, I have, if you go to my website, I have several testimonials there. And I'm not going to do them justice because, I mean, they're just, every time I hear from families, I'm just really thankful and grateful that they trusted me to go on this journey. But, so just in kind of broad strokes, obviously, the big thing for me is seeing that connection. you know? I mean, parents begin to understand how to better relate to their child. They learn and see how their child's thinking because they take the time, they're pause, to pause and to allow them the space they need to kind of explore and play with that idea and think about it. This class is really taught to children. Parents are sitting next to them. Parents are invited. I've developed it where there's interplay, so the kids will sort of use their chat box during certain slides to give me their thoughts, and then I always tell them, if you don't know, talk to your senior detective who's sitting right there next to you, and um, I try to infuse that interaction between the parents throughout the course. However, the focus is primarily on the child,
Yeah.
because they are like, I kind of see them leaning in, and ready to sort of like use their chat box. And it's always so fun to see them so engaged like that.
And honestly, that is in such stark contrast to how it usually works in the exam room when we're talking to families. We're usually
Hmm.
spending the majority of our time talking to the parent.
Yes.
Parents have a lot of questions about ADHD. They have a lot of concerns. They have a lot of trepidations and fears. And so I find that most of my conversation is directed straight at the parent. So this is such a great model so that the child actually feels like this is something where they're included and that
Hmm.
it's important, their feedback's important and how they feel. I
Yep.
always try to tell parents, like, when we begin treatment for ADHD, I want to know from your child how they feel
Hmm.
and how, if they're getting better. But this is such a better way of doing that. You have more time, you have more space, you have a safer environment. It doesn't feel as, antiseptic as being in the
Hmm.
hospital or in a clinic. And so this model seems to be like a really great way to take that pause and to get creative and to have fun, but to still learn and to build that self-esteem and to help parents just watch their kids grow and know that it's okay to have ADHD. Lots of us
Yeah.
do, and it's something that you can use your superpowers to accomplish great things and feel good about yourself. So
And
um,
one of the just to let you know, I mean, there was a child who, after session 6, where we talk about medication and in relation to the larger ADHD care plan, after that session in particular, um, they actually were talking to their parents about, well, what do I need? What do I need? I actually need to go to therapy, when he found out what that's about. He was like, "I think I need to do that. Can you help me find somebody?" Right?
yeah.
I mean, I that's what I want to see. I want these kids, as young as 8 to 12, begin to feel like their opinion matters, their thoughts matter, and then to self-advocate for themselves. I mean, isn't that what we want?
Absolutely, and I really feel like every pediatrician in the world should watch this video right now just to know, that that's the piece that's really missing from us when we're talking about ADHD in our clinic. We just, we're constrained by a lot of time, and it's not the greatest environment to really talk about it and to help families and to support them. So if we only had this as a way of really helping families, I still see a lot of families walking out of my clinic still feeling confused and still not having enough information. And so this is just the remedy. This is the remedy to so much of that. Hey, my pediatrician gave me this, but I don't have a lot of time and I still don't know. Of course, there are, websites and resources and support groups, but this is actually something very personal. It's very a great time for kids to ask questions, and it's just like nothing that I'm able to offer in my clinic. So I really think every pediatrician out there needs to know about this and just appreciate the creativity and um, the insight into children that went into creating this, and it's just amazing to me.
Thank you,
So
Amy. Thank
yeah.
you.
Oh, yeah, I'm so thrilled to talk to you today and just to hear more about, the time you get to spend with the kids and how they help each other and how they help their parents understand them better. I really think, it's not always easy for parents to spend quality time with their child with ADHD. Some kids, they're here, they're there, they're everywhere, and parents can't even keep up sometimes. But this is a time where everything's focused on the child and everything's focused on helping. And so it is, you're creating such a great space for kids and families.
Thank you. And I do want to share really quickly, I just have some show and tell stuff. So, along with the theme, parents do get these downloads of these training mission field notes. Now, I always, oh, sorry, I got to learn how to hold it here. So, they're one page, and you get one for each training mission meeting. But the idea is that parents don't go rushing to do this right away. It's not supposed to be like homework, but it's meant to be a way to, like, 3 days after, 3, 4 days after, is to just kind of sit down and restart the conversation because life gets in the way, right? And so you might want to see what stuck, what stood out to your child during that training mission meeting. What do they remember? And then there's always this action, my plan part. And so it just helps them jumpstart that conversation again. And then, in addition, at the end, like, the whole idea of this course is, at the end, I want them to have learned everything they need to know at a basic level for advocating for themselves, what they need for an ADHD care plan. So they have, something like this that then they are able to fill out with their mom and dad. And then I encourage them to bring it back to their pediatrician to show off all the awesome knowledge that they've gained through the 8 weeks and be able to say, hey, look, I think I need this. This is how I'm sleeping. This is how my mood is. Things at school are going okay. And I think I might need, XYZ, because these are the details that are included on their care plan.
That
And
would
we will,
be incredible. If someone brought that to my clinic, that would be incredible. It's like cracking open the mind and actually seeing all the information that we wish we could see, and sometimes we can't always get all that information. So
yeah.
that is fantastic, and I do love the self-advocacy part too. I was talking to my daughter the other day, and she was just really tired after school, and she kind of, she didn't wanna go to taekwondo, and she was laying there just, like, moaning and groaning, and I'm like, "Well, it looks like you're upset. Let's see what you need. Let's listen
Hmm.
to what you need. What does your body need? What do you need right now to help you calm down?" And so those skills that they're learning about how to help themselves with their ADHD really translate into how to help them create their self-care plan in other times of stress. So
Yes.
I just love that, and I might need one of those for myself, I think.
We all do. We all have to look at our own care plans sometimes. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, any final words about, like, that you really want people to know about your program? I mean, like I said, I'm a true believer. The creativity, the thought, the care that goes into this for kids is something that really they can't get anywhere else. And so, I just want everyone to know. But what else do you want people to know about your awesome program?
Oh, well, so I'm currently enrolling now. Enrollment goes, oh, it's open through August 30th for this cohort, which is in September. We start the week of September 12th. I have 3 different class times. Each class is capped at 10 parent-child pairs, which seems like a lot, but 10, actually, I've had a class already that had 10, and it actually, everybody felt like they were heard. It's the key there was using the chat box, which I was initially not sure if I should do, but it worked. So, um, but I do offer this class 3 times a year: January, April, and September. Otherwise, agency doors are closed, but you can always put yourself on the wait list. And if you do, then you'll get some pointers and tips throughout while you're waiting. And then you'll get a little priority registration the next time it opens. Also, in addition, because it's an 8 week interactive Zoom class, you will also get access to pre-recorded content without anybody other than me going through it, which was a lot of fun to tape. But then that way, if you miss it or you forget, or what did she say, or maybe the other senior detective was unable to join and they want to know too, you can always go back and watch any of those videos. And once you have access to the course, you can download the app called Kajabi and you can watch it wherever you want. And then you also get invited to my exclusive Facebook community, which is just for our detectives. And that's where you'll post your evidence. And then all the other past detectives who have gone before you are still there. And they are going to cheer you on, support you. And I'm also dreaming up additional things so that way, after the course, we continue to stay engaged, we continue to get support, and we continue to learn and grow together.
Wow. Wow, that is so amazing. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, Nerissa Bauer, doctor, teacher, graphic designer, board game designer,
Yeah.
social media guru, and TV personality. You have a lot of hats, and
Oh,
I mean, to really be able to have the online community and the app that they can download and all of the materials that they don't teach you that in medical school.
no,
So
they don't.
that is impressive, and I wish that this kind of group could be applied in so many other aspects of our jobs in pediatrics. But it's so valuable, and it's such a pleasure to talk to you and hear about the wonderful things you're doing for your patients. And so yeah, I hope everybody gets to watch this, and I hope everybody signs up for your class, because it's definitely something where I think it's that kids can really feel good about themselves in a world where everybody's trying to pull them down. You get to pull them up.
Yes, thank you so much. And again, if folks are interested in learning more, you can go to my website, letstalkkidshealth.org, all together. Go to courses, and you should be able to see the registration page. And then if you happen to access that and any other time when agency doors are closed, it'll bring you to the wait list. And so thank you so much for allowing me to share this story with you, because I know that as I was developing this, like, I think we should develop something together.
Oh, I
I
would say
mean,
yes to anything you suggest. Yes,
Uh,
definitely.
so I do want to say that next week, because unfortunately my original guest had to reschedule. So thank you for popping in today and doing this with me, Dr. Shriver. It was so fun.
Well, it's fun to
Um,
be a guest host on your show, and always great to hear more about what you're up to. And you can invite me back anytime, because I'm a big fan, and I can't wait to maybe
Same
see you in
here.
person sometime. And
Oh, I
of course, there'll
know.
be many selfies if that happens.
Oh
So,
my gosh, yes, yes. Let me just close out the show by saying that next week, my special guest will be Dr. Daniel Hockman, where we're going to talk about how to talk to a child about addiction. And that's a he's an adult psychiatrist, and this is his area of expertise. And so I think it's going to be a really important episode. So I hope you guys will tune in next Thursday at 7:30. All right. Well, I think this is a wrap.
well, thank you so much. That was awesome. It was
Thank
so fun
you.
to hear, and like I said, it makes me want to go even more. So.
All right. Well, good night, everybody.